Knuckle.
Knuckle.
Her knuckles whitened as she gripped the gun.
A knuckle of pork.
Some of his jokes are a bit near the knuckle. Some of his jokes are a bit near the knuckle.
If he doesn't knuckle down soon, he'll never get through those exams. He is clearly ready to knuckle down to the task.
Knuckle dragger.
Knuckle dragger.
Knuckle duster.
Knuckle duster.
Knucklehead.
Knucklehead.
KO.
KO.
Koala.
Koala.
Coal.
Coal.
Kohlrabi.
Kohlrabi.
Kook.
Kook.
Kookaburra.
Kookaburra.
Cora. Cora.
Koran.
Koran.
Korma.
Korma.
Chicken korma.
Kosher.
Kosher.
Are you sure this offer is kosher?
Kowtow.
Kowtow.
We will not kowtow to the government.
KP.
KP. Kilometers per hour. Kilometers per hour.
Crawl.
Crawl.
Kraut.
Kraut.
Kremlin.
Kremlin.
Krill.
Krill.
Kris Kringle.
Kris Kringle.
Krona.
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 Krugerrand.
Krugerrand.
Krypton.
Krypton.
Kudos.
Kudos.
He acquired kudos just by appearing on television.
Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan.
Kumquat.
Kumquat.
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu.
Kurd.
Kurd.
Kvetch.
Kvetch.
L.
L. LA.
Law.
Lab.
Lab.
The school science lab.
Label.
Label.
A luggage label.
It says dry clean on the label.
Men these days have to avoid attracting the sexist label.
Their new release on the Ace Sounds label.
Fancy designer labels tend to come with fancy price tags to match.
Label the diagram clearly. The file was labeled Top Secret.
Each bag of seeds is labelled with the grower's name. The newspapers had unjustly labelled him a troublemaker. The regime was inevitably labelled as communist.
Labia.
Labia.
Labial.
Labial.
Labor.
Labor.
Laboratory.
Laboratory.
A research laboratory.
Tests on laboratory animals.
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Labored.
Labored.
Laborer.
Laborer.
Laborious.
Laborious.
Collecting the raw materials proved a long and laborious task.
The laborious business of drying the crops.
A beetle began to crawl laboriously up his leg.
Labor Union.
Labor Union.
Labor.
Labor.
Most people will pay higher taxes under Labour. They always vote Labour.
A labor policy.
The garage charges £30 an hour for labour. Many women do hard manual labour. Workers withdrew their labour for 24 hours.
A shortage of skilled labour.
We need to reduce our labour costs. Meg was in labour for 10 hours. Diane went into labour at 2 o'clock. Diane went into labour at 2 o'clock. The labour pains were unbearable. After several hours gardening, we sat down to admire the results of our labours. They laboured all day in the mills. I've been labouring over this report all morning.
Ray had little talent, but laboured to acquire the skills of a writer.
She had laboured under the misconception that Bella liked her. She had laboured under the misconception that Bella liked her. I could see the bus labouring up the steep, windy road. I could see the bus labouring up the steep, windy road.
Labour camp.
Labour camp.
Laboured.
Laboured.
Some of the episodes are very laboured.
Labourer.
Labourer.
A farm labourer.
Labour exchange.
Labour exchange.
Labour force.
Labour force.
Labouring.
Labouring.
They wanted to provide education for the labouring classes. A labouring job.
Labour intensive.
Labour intensive.
Labour-intensive farming methods.
Labour market.
Labour market.
Married women re-entering the labour market.
Labour movement.
Labour movement.
Labour relations.
Labour relations.
A company with good labour relations. Labour saving.
Labour saving.
Labrador.
Labrador.
Laburnum.
Laburnum.
Labyrinth.
Labyrinth.
A labyrinth of underground tunnels. Decisions are frequently delayed in the labyrinth of Whitehall committees. Labyrinthine corridors.
Lace.
Lace.
A handkerchief trimmed with lace. Lace curtains. Lace up your shoes or you'll trip over.
The canvas was laced to a steel frame.
Coffee laced with Irish whiskey. Hannah laced her fingers together. He laces his narrative with a great deal of irrelevant information.
Iris's voice was heavily laced with irony.
Lacerate.
Lacerate.
His fingers were badly lacerated by the broken glass.
Laceration.
Laceration.
Multiple lacerations to the upper arms. Lace up.
Lace up.
Shiny black lace-up shoes.
Lacework.
Lacework.
Lachrymose.
Lachrymose.
Lack.
Lack.
New parents suffering from lack of sleep.
Too many teachers are treated with a lack of respect. Comments based on a total lack of information. Does their apparent lack of progress mean they are not doing their job properly? Tours that are cancelled for lack of bookings.
There was no lack of willing helpers.
Health problems linked to poor diet and a relative lack of exercise. Health problems linked to poor diet and a relative lack of exercise. Alex's real problem is that he lacks confidence. He does not lack for critics.
Lackadaisical.
Lackadaisical.
David has a rather lackadaisical approach to his work.
Lackey.
Lackey.
Lacking.
Lacking.
He was lacking in confidence. She seems to be entirely lacking in intelligence. The new designs have all been found lacking in some important way.
Financial backing for the project is still lacking.
These qualities are sadly lacking today.
Lackluster.
Lackluster.
A lackluster performance. Lackluster hair.
Laconic.
Laconic.
She left, said Pascoe laconically.
Lacquer.
Lacquer.
A black lacquered box.
Lacrosse.
Lacquer.
Lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Lactate.
Lactate.
Lactation.
Lactation.
Lactic acid. Lactose.
Lactose.
Lacuna.
Lacuna.
Lacy.
Lacy.
Lacy underwear. A plant with delicate lacy leaves. Lad.
Lad.
A young lad. Things were different when I was a lad. A night out with the lads. That Chris is a bit of a lad, isn't he?
Ladder.
Ladder.
She climbed up the ladder. He hurt himself falling off a ladder.
Stevens slowly worked his way up the corporate ladder.
Becoming a doctor would be a step up the social ladder.
The first step on the ladder of success.
Yes, I know I've got a ladder in my tights.
Laddie.
Laddie. Laddish.
Laddish.
Laddism.
Laddism.
The culture of laddism.
Laden.
Laden.
The tables were laden with food.
The lorry was fully laden. Snow-laden branches.
She was laden with doubts about the affair. Trucks laden with equipment.
A debt-laden company.
Ladette.
Ladette.
La-di-da.
La-di-da.
A la-di-da attitude.
Ladies' man.
Ladies' man.
Ladies' room.
Ladies' room.
Lading.
Lading.
Ladle.
Ladle.
Ladmag. Ladmag.
Lady.
Lady.
The ladies' darts team.
Ladies' underwear.
The young lady at reception sent me up here.
Give your coat to the lady over there.
She knows how to behave like a lady.
Lady Spencer.
His boyish good looks made him a favourite with the ladies. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? She can be a tough lady to negotiate with. So, you're a lady of leisure now that the kids are at school. So, you're a lady of leisure now that the kids are at school.
Hey, lady, would you mind getting out of my way?
I could see the Queen surrounded by her lords and ladies.
The captain and his lady.
Ladybird.
Ladybird.
Lady-in-waiting.
Lady in waiting.
Ladylike.
Ladylike.
Ladylike behaviour. Ladyship.
Ladyship.
Do you think her ladyship will be joining us?
Ladies' man.
Ladies' man.
Lag.
Lag.
She stopped to wait for Ian, who was lagging behind. Britain is lagging behind the rest of Europe.
We've had the hot water tank lagged.
A time lag. Lager.
Lager.
A pint of lager.
Lagerlout.
Lagerlout.
Laggard.
Laggard.
Lagging. Lagging. Lagoon.
Lagoon.
A coastal lagoon. La-di-da.
Laid.
Laid.
Laid back.
Laid back.
I don't know how you can be so laid back about your exams.
He is famed for his laid-back attitude.
Lane.
Lane.
Lair.
Lair.
A smuggler's lair.
Laird.
Laird.
Larry.
Larry.
He's a bit leery, your friend Mick.
Laissez-faire.
Laissez-faire.
The policy of laissez-faire.
Laity.
Laity.
Lake.
Lake.
Lake Michigan.
Lakeside.
Lakeside.
A lakeside restaurant.
Lamb.
Lamb.
Brenner was recaptured after 3 weeks on the lam.
Llama.
Llama.
Lamb.
Lamb.
Roast lamb. A leg of lamb.
Ben's asleep now, the little lamb.
Susie went off to school like a lamb today.
The ewes are lambing this week.
The lambing season. Lambada.
Lambada.
Lambast.
Lambaste.
Democrats lambasted the president's budget plan for being inadequate.
Lamb's wool.
Lamb's wool.
Lame.
Lame.
A lame dog.
She gave some lame excuse about missing the bus.
A lame attempt to deflect criticism.
A lot of the songs on this album are a bit lame.
The company's lame performance.
He was lamed in the accident.
A gold lame dress.
Lame.
Lame.
A lame dog.
She gave some lame excuse about missing the bus.
Lame.
A gold lame dress. Lame duck.
Lame duck.
Lamely.
Lamely. It wasn't my responsibility, he lamely explained.
Lament.
The nation lamented the death of its great war leader.
He lamented that people had expected too much of him too soon.
She lamented the fact that manufacturers did not produce small packs for single-person households.
Steiner lamented the lack of public interest in the issue.
A lone piper played a lament.
A lament for the dead.
Lamentable.
Lamentable.
A lamentable state of affairs.
A lamentable lack of support for the idea.
It is lamentable that the officer failed to deal with the situation.
Lamentation.
Lamentation.
There was lamentation throughout the land at news of the defeat.
Laminate.
Laminate.
Laminated glass.
A laminated ID card.
Laminated.
Laminated.
A laminated ID card.
Laminated glass.
Laminate.
Lamp.
Lamp.
Lamplight.
Lamplight.
Her eyes shone in the lamplight.
Lamplighter.
Lamplighter.
Lampoon.
Lampoon.
The Prime Minister was frequently lampooned in political cartoons.
Lamppost.
Lamppost.
Lampshade.
Lampshade.
Lan.
Lan.
Lance.
Lance. Lance.
Lance corporal.
Lance corporal.
Lancet.
Lancet.
Land.
Land.
They own a lot of land. He bought a piece of land.
After 21 days at sea, we sighted land.
Troops began an assault on the city by land and sea. The crocodile lays its eggs on land.
The white stork is one of the biggest land birds of the region. The white stork is one of the biggest land birds of the region.
Their journey took them to many foreign lands.
He's fiercely proud of his native land.
Australia represented a real land of opportunity for thousands of people.
A third of the region's population still lives off the land.
Many people were forced to give up working the land. Many people were forced to give up working the land.
He ordered us to get off his land.
Flight 846 landed 5 minutes ago.
The bird landed gracefully on the water.
The pilot managed to land the aircraft safely.
We expect to be landing in Oslo in about 50 minutes.
In 1969, the first men landed on the moon.
A large branch landed on the hood of my car. Lewis fell out of the tree and landed in a holly bush.
She fell and landed heavily on the floor.
A couple of bombs landed quite near to the village.
The troops were landed by helicopter.
He landed a job with a law firm.
Bill's just landed himself a part in a Broadway show.
She developed pneumonia, which landed her in hospital.
Jeff landed me in it by saying I should have checked that the door was locked. Jeff landed me in it by saying I should have checked that the door was locked. Jeff landed me in it by saying I should have checked that the door was locked.
Just when I thought my problems were over, this letter landed on my desk.
She certainly landed on her feet when she got that job.
We landed up in a bar at 3 a.m. We landed up in a bar at 3 a.m.
Be careful that you don't land up in serious debt.
I landed up with 5 broken ribs.
Maria's been landed with all the tidying up as usual.
Land agent.
Land agent.
Landau.
Landau.
Land-based.
Land-based.
Land-based missiles.
Land-based animals.
Land bridge.
Land bridge. Thousands of years ago, people crossed the land bridge between Asia and North America.
Landed.
Landed.
Landed estates.
Landfall.
Landfall.
Landfill.
Landfill.
Landholding.
Landholding.
Landing.
Landing.
Takeoff and landing procedures.
The Apollo moon landings. The first floor landing.
The first landings of American Marines at Da Nang.
Landing craft.
Landing craft.
Landing gear.
Landing gear.
Landing net.
Landing net.
Landing stage.
Landing stage.
Landlady.
Landlady.
Landless.
Landless.
Landline.
Landline.
I'll be at home, so you can call me on the landline.
Landlocked.
Landlocked.
Landlord.
Landlord.
Landlubber.
Landlubber.
Landmark.
Landmark.
One of Belfast's most famous landmarks, the Grosvenor Hall, has been demolished.
The discovery of penicillin was a landmark in the history of medicine.
The Supreme Court issued a landmark decision in January 2001.
Landmass.
Landmass.
Landmine.
Landmine.
Land office.
Land office.
Landowner.
Landowner.
Wealthy landowners.
Britain's landowning aristocracy. Land reform.
Land reform.
Land registry.
Land registry.
Landscape.
Landscape.
The beauty of the New England landscape.
English landscape artists. Recent electoral shocks have shaken the European political landscape.
The area around the mill pond has also been landscaped.
Landscape architect.
Landscape architect.
Landscape gardening.
Landscape gardening.
Land's End.
Land's End.
Landslide.
Landslide.
A landslide election victory.
The SNP candidate won by a landslide.
Landslip.
Landslip.
Landward.
Landward.
The landward side of the hill.
Lane.
Lane.
A quiet country lane.
The Hilton Hotel in Park Lane.
A network of alleys and back lanes.
That idiot changed lanes without signalling.
Use the outside lane for overtaking only.
Cars in the fast lane were travelling at over 80 miles an hour. Cars in the fast lane were travelling at over 80 miles an hour.
Busy shipping lanes.